Hello again, and welcome to this training time for the Sunday school lesson from the Gospel of Mark. Today we're looking at a story of Jesus being encountered by religious leaders who are questioning his lack of following their traditions, and talking more specifically about the issues of the importance of the heart. So one of the things I would suggest you do, and it's on the outline that you have, is to ask your class about traditions, family traditions, some of the favorite family traditions. Maybe talk about family traditions that sort of annoy some folks, and just talk about traditions as a way in which to getting into this discussion. And then from there, move to the story where Jesus is talking about religious traditions, and in this case, he's confronted about hand washing as a ritual for cleansing before eating food, and just one of the traditions that the Jewish people had put in place that the Pharisees are very concerned about with Jesus. And then ask the question of your class as you think about that. What are some traditions that are important to the members of the class in relation to the practicing of their faith? What role do traditions have in our faith, and how important are they, and maybe where do they get in the way of our faith? Jesus has some pretty strong words for the Pharisees in this case. He calls them hypocrites, which is a strong word, but it means that our practice is not consistent with our heart, and so he gets to the issues of the heart. And we'll talk a little bit more about the heart of the matter when you get down to verse 8, where Jesus says, "For you ignore God's law and substitute your own tradition." What was he saying when he said, you ignore God's law? In the original language, it's singular. It's God's law. It's a whole. It's a one law. It wasn't necessarily all the individual commands. So what was that law? And as I thought about that, I think it comes back to the Shema. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. And then Jesus added to that, and you'll love your neighbor as yourself. And so the importance of keeping God's law, which is to love him with all our heart, mind, and soul, and our neighbor as ourselves. And so as you go through this passage, he then directs himself directly to the issues of the heart, that things, it's not so much what comes into our life that defiles, is the word he uses, our heart, which sort of causes us to become hypocritical, but it's what comes out of our hearts. So the importance of keeping our hearts open to God, our hearts open to what God's love and grace and forgiveness can do in our lives. So as you come to the end of this story and this lesson, I want to encourage you to talk to your class about preparing our hearts for next Sunday, which is Communion Sunday, and just being aware of sort of doing a heart examination. And I give a couple questions there to invite the class to examine their hearts before God. Are they open to God? Are they open to neighbor as well? And what a healthy heart looks like before God. Some of those ideas. And considering these questions as we come to the end of this lesson, as we prepare for communion, just invite the class to, in the week ahead, to be consciously aware and preparing their hearts for that act of both worshiping God and remembering Jesus' love and life and death and resurrection, but also remembering our brothers and sisters. How are things with God and me and with my brothers and sisters in the church? And what can I do to open my heart to God's love and others? Blessings as you lead this conversation. Thank you.